police have not yet identified what type of weapon was used in the shooting. We do not know if the suspect had a weapon with him when he was captured, whether there may have been anyone else with him, why he was in Cleveland County.
And what may be the key factor here is this image that you're seeing of the suspect that was caught on surveillance of the suspect walking into Emmanuel AME Church during this prayer meeting. He sat in that church for about an hour before he started shooting inside the church. Officials were able to get this image out to the media, to the public, as early as 6 o'clock this morning. And this is the reason why they wanted to get as much information out there to the public so somebody could be on the lookout, not only for Dylan Storm Roof, but also for the vehicle that he was driving. Sure enough, spotted hundreds of miles away here in Shelby, North Carolina, from where this shooting happened in Charleston. And
of course, Shelby is about 240 miles away from Charleston. And here is the police chief, Greg Mullen, and he is live now. Let's listen in.
A long day so far.
We want to just cut in really quickly and let you know this live video that you're seeing is Sky 3 over the scene where Dylan Storm Roth's vehicle and suspect himself was caught. This is on Highway 74 at Plato Lee Road. You see the close-up there of the suspect vehicle, that dark Hyundai four-door sedan there with South Carolina license plate. Sure enough, the suspect was in this vehicle when it was stopped. You heard Chief Greg Mullen there say he was cooperative with authorities when he was taken into custody and that there was no incident at the time.
And of course, this area is actually west of Shelby. It's between Shelby and Lattimore, if you're familiar with that. This happened around 12:15, sometime just right, or rather 11:15. Sometime between 11:15, the suspect was stopped here. According to the police chief there in Charleston, Greg Mullen, he said the officer who apprehended him, singular, meaning perhaps just one officer was there at the moment that he was apprehended, but that the suspect, Roth, did not offer any resistance. Apparently no one else in the vehicle with him at the time. But you can see a lot of police officers, a lot of sheriff's officers there, deputies on the scene.
And we anticipate this scene being this way for some time because the chief said that SLED and the FBI are on the way to Shelby, North Carolina as we speak to do interviews and gather more evidence from that scene. Let's go ahead and cut back into this live press conference happening in Charleston.
From my home, I was talking to Chief Keel and the FBI.
All right, we apparently have lost the audio again from that news conference. That's happening in Charleston. The police chief there, Greg Mullen, speaking, as well as Charleston Mayor Joe Riley, Governor Nikki Haley becoming very emotional as she was speaking about the situation there. The president, we understand, is actually going to be speaking at any moment now in regard to this. We believe it's possible. We do not know. He was scheduled to speak at about 10 minutes before noon, but he may be watching the situation there with this news conference and perhaps waiting until that is over before he says anything. But again, our Sky 3 is live over the scene where Dylan Roth was taken into custody this morning just west of Shelby, between Shelby and Lattimore, along Plato Lee Road and Highway 74. Of course, that's the main roadway that goes through Shelby and Cleveland County, Highway 74.
Lots of questions that need to be answered at this point. Sadly, 9 victims in all of this, 9 people dead, including South Carolina Senator Clementa Pinckney. And we just learned in the last 15 or so minutes that former North Carolina Senator Malcolm Graham's sister was inside Emmanuel AME Church when this shooting happened, and she is also among the deceased. And that breaking news happening in multiple areas. We're following the breaking news story of the Charleston shooting where 9 people were killed. The suspect, who has been sought for the last several hours, has been caught in Shelby, North Carolina.
We're glad to have you with us here this noon. I'm John Carter along with Christine Spiro. These are live pictures from our Sky 3 over the area where the suspect was captured just around 11 o'clock this morning. This is along Plato Lee Road, which is just off Highway 74. The main thoroughfare that runs through Shelby. This is in an area that's between Shelby and Lattimore. You can see a lot of officers are on the scene there. The suspect captured offered absolutely no resistance, apparently, according to the police chief in Charleston, South Carolina, Greg Mullen, who has been speaking with reporters.
And we are standing by because the President of the United States is set to make a statement about the shooting in Charleston. He was supposed to make that statement about 5 minutes ago, but again, we are awaiting President Obama to make comments about a story that has just resonated across the nation.
Now, our Ashton Pelham has been in Charleston, South Carolina throughout the morning this morning, talking with detectives, with police officers, with people in the community, and he's joining us now live from Charleston with what's happening down there. Ashton, tell us what you know right now.
Hey, good afternoon, John. I'm right outside of a prayer vigil being held here at the Morris Brown AME Church. And let me tell you, when I say this is really a spectacle to see, a lot of people from the community came out, whether it be white, black, Jew, Christian, whether it be old, young. You could just take a look behind me and see all the people outside of the gates right now. Actually, so many people here that they actually closed the gates to the public for this prayer vigil, and they can't let anybody else in because that church is at capacity right now. That's taking place right now. We have cameras inside. We can cut to a live feed whenever I get done here. But it's really, this is a spectacle out here. The mood this morning was, it was sorrow, but it was almost like we know that this was faith. You know, God has a plan, as people I've talked to said. God has a plan, and that this is what is a part of that plan, and they know that revenge wouldn't be a part of that plan. They didn't have any sentiments of revenge or wanted to get back at this person. They just wanted that young man caught. So that young man's caught. We're outside right now. You can see the crowd of people who wanted to get in, can't get in right now, and that prayer vigil is going on for those 9 victims. I'm going to send it back to you, John and Christine, in the studio right now. Take it away.
And one of the victims is Pastor and State Senator Clemente Pinckney. He was 41 years old, a married father of 2. There is a black cloth right now draped over his seat in the South Carolina State House today. Also, a source confirming to WBTV, the sister of former North Carolina State Senator Malcolm Graham was also killed in the shooting. Now, when we last spoke to Graham, he had not been able to get in contact with her. He spoke directly to our Mark Davenport early this morning. Malcolm Graham was headed to Charleston, South Carolina. He'd not been able to reach his sister by phone.
Let's go to Mark live in the WBTV newsroom with more. Mark?
Yeah, this morning I was talking to Malcolm Graham. He was leaving right about 5 o'clock this morning. He got there just after 8 o'clock. He couldn't reach his sister by phone. He couldn't get anybody else in the area to reach his sister either. She was at the church last night. That was confirmed to him by police, but that's all they told him this morning when he got there. We weren't able to talk to him since then, but we have spoken to our Steve Crump, who is en route to Charleston right now. He says a source with the North Carolina General Assembly confirmed that Mr. Graham's sister, Cynthia Hurd, is among one of the 9 victims that was killed last night at the Emmanuel AME Church in downtown Charleston. Right now, we're showing you some pictures of this this traffic stop. This is where we believe the traffic stop happened in Shelby off of Highway 74 at Plato Lee Road. This is live pictures from Sky 3 at this moment in time. There was a traffic stop in Shelby, North Carolina. That's about 245 miles away, nearly 4 hours away from Charlotte, Charleston, where this first began late last night. Both FBI and SLED, they are flying to Shelby right now. That's what we heard in the press conference earlier this afternoon. They are going to be interviewing with the suspect when they do get to Shelby. That suspect, Dylan Roth, 21 years old, of Lexington, South Carolina. He was found in Shelby, North Carolina. A couple other things that we heard this afternoon. Chief Greg Mullen saying that he got emotional about the tireless work by all these agencies involved. Mayor Joe Riley, who is the longtime mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, called Dylan Roth, 21 years old, the suspected shooter, an awful person, a terrible human being, now in custody, where he will always remain. We also heard from Governor Nikki Haley, who got very emotional. She said the heart and soul of South Carolina was broken earlier this morning, but it is a strong and faithful city, and they will rebuild. They will come back from something like this.
Thanks a lot, Mark. And we are just now getting word in that the suspect, Dylan Roth, actually may have come through Charlotte earlier this morning, and that he used an ATM card somewhere in South Charlotte, we believe. That happening around around 6 a.m.
5 a.m. hour or so, close to 6.
Somewhere in that vicinity. So he actually apparently drove from Charleston through the Charlotte area and then to Shelby, where he was captured.
Let's go back to our Ashton Pelham, who is in Charleston there. That vigil just starting inside Emmanuel AME Church. Ashton, what's the very latest from there now?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, Christine. They just got done wrapping up singing some hymns here right outside of Morris Brown AME Church here. They were singing "We Shall Overcome" because that's the general consensus of the feeling of this community here. Everybody really came together this morning, like I said earlier. No matter the race, no matter the gender, no matter the religion, everybody really bonded, and you could tell that that was a strong sense of bond here this morning. Is that's not tolerated in our city. This was a lone wolf act, and that doesn't represent what this town represents. And as I step out of your way, you can really see that. I mean, take a look. You can see white, black. I saw, a Jewish. I saw a Muslim out here. So you can see this in the crowd right now, and you can really feel it in the community. They had to stop letting people inside the church because that's how packed that's inside the church it is right now. So that's really speaks to the community out here. And I asked, asked around when the news broke about the man being arrested, the suspect being arrested. There were fist pumps, there were jubilees, there were shouts of yes. Although that can't replace those 9 lives that were taken, it really even strengthened this community even more that he was caught, so they could say, hey, this isn't how we do it in Charleston. I spoke with one guy, this is being investigated as a hate crime. I spoke with a white man that's from Charleston, and he almost got really emotional with me, saying, it gives us a bad rap. That's what he's not about. That's not how he was, he was raised, and that's not how the city of Charleston, how he was brought up. That's not how he was raised out here. So that's what's going on right here now. Again, behind me is that prayer vigil going on. You can see crowds actually coming back now. I mean, when I first got out here, they were letting people in. They stopped people at the gate that's a little bit further up there. And now they're people are backing up almost to where our cameras are here across the street. So a lot going on here right now, a lot to keep your eye on out here. And I mean, it's really a spectacle to see the testament of this community coming together. I've never, ever seen anything happen like this, bond together with all races, with all gender, with all religious backgrounds. It's really coming together right here, right now. You can see it unfolding right behind me outside of Morris Brown AME Church. Hopefully everything's going to be peaceful inside and outside as well. There's no protesters or anything out here, nothing like that. I mean, that would make no sense coming out here now in this sense of bonding and really a community bonding out here. And that's what you can see behind us right now. I'm going to kick it back to you, John and Christine, and take it from here.
All right, thank you, Ashton. He's there reporting from the vigil outside Morris Brown AME Church, which is not far from where the shooting happened at Emmanuel AME Church, about 4 doors down there, 4 blocks down from where that shooting happened.
And right now we are bringing you live pictures from our Sky 3 over the site where the suspect, Dylan Roth, was captured just after 11 o'clock this morning, we believe. He offered no resistance. Police Chief Greg Mullen saying that someone in the community spotted the vehicle, thought it was suspicious, had apparently known of the vehicle after watching television or hearing other reports of a description of it, called police. A traffic stop was made. Now, based on what the police chief said, it may have been only one officer who made that traffic stop, but that the suspect apparently did not offer any resistance. Now, this is along Highway 74, Plato Lee Road. That is right between Shelby and Lattimore, about halfway between those 2 areas there. This is in the western part of Cleveland County, just before you get to the Rutherford County line. And there you see the vehicle that the suspect was in.
If you're in that area, we don't anticipate this scene clearing up anytime soon. We saw some police officers bringing a cooler there to the scene. They're likely collecting evidence. The FBI still has to get to the scene, as well as state investigators with SLED to collect evidence to see what else is in this vehicle that could bring some clue as to what motivated this young man to allegedly commit the crime that he's accused of committing. So many questions that still need to be answered in all of this. Again, we are awaiting President Obama to make a statement from the White House. As soon as that happens, we are going to take that live for you as well here at WBTV. But you see a lot of investigators there standing by closely to that Hyundai. Right, and there is the podium at the White House there. But we want to take you back to that vigil at the Morris Brown AME Church, which is about 4 blocks away from the AME Emmanuel Church. And this is a woman who is speaking about the vigil itself.
God bless you. Amen.
All right, we don't know specifically who that gentleman was, but we do understand he is a member there at the Emmanuel AME Church where the deadly shootings took place last night around 9 o'clock. As you can see, several people are speaking outside the Morris Brown AME Church there. The church itself is packed right now as a vigil is being held outside. As we were saying earlier, they had to actually shut the doors there because of so many people. This is a situation that has just absolutely rocked the community of Charleston, South Carolina. But as you can see, everyone is coming together to bond together to take this in stride and to come together as a community.
Yeah, I'm going through just social media, finding some of the reaction that we mentioned has been coming throughout the morning here and afternoon. James Clyburn reacting, saying that we must take these horrific crimes that are happening across our states and teach our neighbors that hate is not the answer. Franklin Graham posting on social media, pray for the families of the 9 victims senselessly slain at Emmanuel AME Church, including their pastor. He offered a couple verses from Psalms and Mark as well, just encouraging people with the hashtag prayers for Charleston. Lindsey Graham also commenting, of course, Lindsey Graham running for president as well from South Carolina, saying our prayers are with the families of the victims and people of Charleston. We are all brokenhearted by this tragedy. He had some presidential appearances in the state that have been canceled. Jeb Bush also canceling some presidential campaign stops here in South Carolina. So again, people just wanting to try to wrap their brains around something so awful happening.
And these again are live pictures from our Sky 3 in Cleveland County at Plato Lee Road and Highway 74, where the suspect Dylan Roth was captured around 11 o'clock this morning. You can see the vehicle. This is the vehicle he was driving. There are police officers on the scene. Now, right now, we don't know a lot of information about the suspect Roth, but we do understand he's 21 years old and from Lexington, South Carolina. And our Mark Davenport is in our newsroom. He has been working the phones and the internet and other sources getting more information. Let's check in with him.
John, yeah, you mentioned this briefly before. We've been doing a lot here at the assignment desk in the newsroom. We do have confirmation from a CMPD source that Dylan Roth used an ATM card somewhere in Charlotte at some time this morning. That's all we can get from that source. We're trying to get more information about where he may have stopped, what he may have been doing here in Charlotte this morning. We know that he was actually caught in Shelby, North Carolina, and that is what you've been seeing all morning long. We've been with Sky 3 right over that scene where he was arrested this morning. FBI, SLED, state investigators, they are flying to that scene right now to interview the suspect. We heard that from Charleston Police Chief Greg Mullen. But at this time, you can see that there's still a lot of activity going on. They're probably collecting evidence at this point in time that is obviously standard, that is procedure, and they have that area roped off as well. Police tape is up in front of that driveway, and these are live pictures from Sky 3 at this point. I want to tell you, Shelby, North Carolina, 245 miles away from Charleston, South Carolina. It's nearly a 4-hour drive, and from our CMPD source saying that he stopped at some point in Charlotte between Charleston and Shelby and used an ATM card in Charlotte at some point. We're going to try to get more information about that, John, but that is the latest. As you see, this is right off of Highway 74, Plato Lee Road. That's what you're seeing from Sky 3 this morning, and that's what we've got at this point. Once we get some more information from that scene out there, once we get some more information from our sources, we'll continue to update you here in the newsroom. Reporting live, Mark Davenport, back to you for now.
All right, thank you, Mark. And I'm seeing that our reporter, Steve Onesorge, is at the jail now, outside of the jail where Dylan Roth is being held. He is standing by waiting to see if they eventually end up moving him to another facility. But again, we have reporters at multiple scenes at this point covering this story for you.
And the jail there in Shelby, just right up there in downtown Shelby, in that area near the courthouse, if you're familiar with that, where the suspect is apparently being held. We want to show you a map right now. This is a map of Shelby, about 45 miles west of Charlotte. Most folks would be familiar with that. Plato Lee Road and Highway 74. Of course, Highway 74, the main thoroughfare that goes through Shelby there. We don't know the particular circumstances of exactly what happened as this traffic stop, as the police chief was calling it, a traffic stop made here. These are live pictures from our Sky 3. This is the vehicle, the Hyundai Elantra, that the suspect suspect was driving, a police officer making a traffic stop after a citizen reported seeing a suspicious vehicle. A traffic stop made, and apparently, according to what we're being told, is that Rolfe offered no resistance whatsoever. Again, Rolfe is 21 years old. We understand he's from Lexington. And Christine, earlier we were looking at some mug shots, I believe, of Rolfe. There was some word on social media that, about prior arrests or whatever. Do you recall exactly what that was?
He was arrested prior on, I believe, drugs and trespassing charges. So there was, yes, a mugshot of him that was already in the system from that arrest. And I think what also we get caught up in this coverage, and what gets lost in all of this as well, is talking about some of the victims in this shooting. I want to reiterate, 9 people were killed at Emmanuel AME Church, 3 males and 6 females. Among the dead is South Carolina State Senator Clementa Pinckney. Here's his picture there. He was also the pastor of Emmanuel AME Church. He was 41 years old. He was married with 2 children. He, from what we understand when we were looking up his background this morning, he started preaching at the age of 13, became a pastor at the age of 18, was elected to office at the age of 27. So he's been in public service for a number of years now. You see at the state legislature in Columbia, they have draped this black cloth over his desk there in the legislature, and you see a vase of flowers there on top.
All right, we understand President Obama is speaking about this. We want to go to the White House right now, and let's listen to the president.
Spoke with Mayor Joe Riley.